what happens there is that the beneficiary, who's the lender, will say to the trustee, trustee, I have not been getting paid on this. Here's the amount that's owed. I want you to serve and record a notice of default. And then the trustee will do that. They charge a fee, of course. But the trustee will do that. They'll serve and record a notice of default. And then the borrower, the homeowner, the trustor, is on notice that they owe money. From the date the notice of default is recorded, there are 3 months in which that the borrower has to repay the amount that's due. Now, costs continue to accrue. So the next month, there's another payment due, and the month after that, there's another payment due. They have to make good the notice of default. If they make good the notice of default, then if they've missed the subsequent payments, then the bank has the right to serve another notice of default. But you need to cure the notice of default really well. All right, that's the first. Now, in certain sorts of promissory notes, however, the bank has the right to call the entire balance, and they can accelerate the payments due. So even though you've missed 1 month, the bank can say, they've missed 1 month, but I, under the terms of the note, have the right to call the entire $1.5 million balance of the loan. And they may do that. And if you can't come up with the $1.5 million balance of the loan within 3 months, then you may be out of luck. After that 3-month period has run, the next step will be service, recordation, and publication of a notice of trustees. Let me define those terms. Service means that the trustee mails a copy of the notice of the trustee's sale to the borrower at the address. Okay. Recordation means that it's recorded with the San Francisco Assessor Recorder. It becomes a public document. And then publication means that it gets published in a newspaper of common circulation. The Chronicle, Examiner, whatever. That puts the world on notice that the property is going to be sold and that it is a foreclosure. Now in San Francisco, foreclosure sales take place in the steps of City Hall. Foreclosure sales take place no earlier than 3 weeks after the notice of trustee sale has been recorded. So after 3 weeks, steps of City Hall, the date is stated in the notice, and they take bids. All right. The bids, the buyer has to pay cash or cash equivalent by the end of that day. All right. So cash, rolls of $100 bills, or cash equivalent, a cashier's check. So that means that, if you can get a property for a very low price out of foreclosure, but you have to come up with a lot of cash to do it. One common scheme that I've found is that people will pool their money, and especially people who form sort of an investment group. For instance, a realtor, an attorney, a contractor, an architect, who pool their money, buy properties at foreclosures in bulk, and then fix them up and flip them. That's something that we see now more against. So to recap the non-judicial foreclosure situation, you have the notice of default, 3 months, notice of trustee sale, 3 weeks, trustee's sale. Now, so that really means that your borrower has less than 4 months in order to come up with the money. Remember how I said earlier that in order to get back in the good graces of the bank, once a notice of default has been served, you need to pay the amount stated in the notice of default. After the notice of trustee's sale comes out, you got to pay the entire amount, even if the entire amount's not stated. The entire amount of the arrearage in order to make in order to reinstate the loan. And you have until 5 days before the trustee's sale in order to do so. All right? That's not a whole lot of time for somebody who's having cash flows. But be aware that you do have some time in order to either try to find money or try to find a workout in terms of a short sale. All right? That's the non-judicial foreclosure situation, and that is by far the most common. The reason it's the most common is that it takes basically 4 months, start to finish. It also costs relatively a low amount of money for the bank. It'll cost the bank on the order of maybe, I don't know, it depends on the situation, $5 to $10 in order to, in trustees' fees in order to do the sale, and then they recoup money from the sale. The downside to doing a trustee's sale is that the bank cannot get any deficiency judgment. The bank cannot come after the borrower's assets if they do a non-judicial foreclosure. So that's a big downside, especially if there's a lot of money owed. I'll get to the difference between a recourse and non-recourse in a second. The other alternative foreclosure is a judicial foreclosure. Judicial foreclosure, as the name suggests, goes through the court system. And through the court system, it could take a year. If it takes a year, that's a lot of attorney's fees.